What's going on, YouTube? I'm 180 Dude. Welcome back to my shop. It's been just about 3 years since I released my initial video on my DWE7485. That was the unboxing and my initial impressions of the saw. And I thought this would be a good time to share with you my likes, my dislikes, and my thoughts on where there might be some room for improvement. Overall, I do like the saw. It's not necessarily built for fine woodworking, but it's excelled in aspects where I really thought that it might come up short. So let's get started. I'll list out my pros first and then the cons, and let's get started. So first thing that I want to mention is this rack and pinion system on here is great. I mean, it's easy to slide back and forth, very accurate, and I'm able to adjust the fence with very micro fine adjustments, which is really nice. The saw that I had before this was definitely lacking when it came to the fence. I'm very happy with this. Another feature that I really do like about this is when I'm extending the fence all the way out to its maximum cut capacity of 24.5 inches or anywhere up to about 10 inches or so. This little fold out fence in here is very nice. It's got, I'll bring you guys in real quick. So what's nice about this is it actually has two levels that it could sit in. The top one allows it to actually float on the table. I don't really use that much, but it is there for any time that I want to use cut thin rips or just need a little bit more space over here to use my push button. What I use it more often for is in its lower setting, which is nice because now I have a support over here which sits flush with the work surface. Really think it's a great idea and very simple but effective. The next feature that I really like about this table saw is its super easy removable fence. It has these positive placement screws that are on the front and back of the sliding mechanism. When you need the maximum width cut of 24.5 inches, you place it on the outside one or the further one and just clip it in, and it's good to go. Accurate and repeatable. That brings me to one point though. Because there are two different positions that the fence can be locked into, these are 4 inches apart exactly. There are two sets of reference measurements on the saw. And this is great because of the added capacity option, but at the same time, I found myself a time or two referencing the wrong tape measure and cutting my pieces either 4 inches too long or 4 inches too short. I wish there was some way of maybe blocking one or the other while that automatically blocked while the fence was in whatever position it was in. But it's not the end of the world. Back to the pros of this fence system. I really do like when I need a little bit of additional table space, which I find myself often needing. This fence stores very easily on the bottom side of the fence assembly. And this works out great because it sits very neatly under there, ready for use at a moment's notice. Moving on, another thing that I really enjoy about this particular table saw is its dust collection. They have a port in the back that sucks the sawdust up from underneath, works very well. And then also, lock that down, they include this splitter assembly, which has over the blade connection for dust collection. This would take place of your riving knife and ride up and down with the blade, also protecting yourself from potentially coming into contact with the blade. Little known item that DeWalt sells, buried somewhere in their catalog, is this little piece, the black. It's not the hose. This is, I think, DWE7485. I'll correct that if it's wrong, but I believe it's DWE7485. Anyways, this thing's great because it will clip on, you rotate it, and now it's locked on there. So it'll sit somewhere, something like that, and you can then collect your dust. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way or a off-the-shelf Y connector that would connect the upper dust collection hose to the lower dust collection hose. If anyone is aware of a piece that they sell or where I might be able to find one, drop it in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it because I really like to have dust collection on both sides. A little bit of the dust does come out from the top, and you know, it gets dusty in here. Another thing that I really do enjoy about this is just all the onboard storage that it has and how modular it all is, and it packs away into this nice little box essentially. Built into the fence, it has your default push stick. I use this if I forget my push block or place it too far away and didn't realize until I'm midway through a cut and need something, but otherwise I don't really rely on this thing. It's okay, I prefer to use my push block. Along with that, the onboard storage for tools to change out the blades is great. A holder place for this piece of junk, miter gauge, which never gets pulled out. I'm not really sure why I still have it, but it sits there until whenever. And then somewhere in here, yes, this little thing. This is an attachment for the riving knife, I believe. That is an anti-kickback, so the wood will go through that way and won't allow the wood to be kicked back. It rides against the wood pretty well. I don't really use it, but it is nice to know that it's there for anyone who does want to use it. And that clips up nice and tidy right in, this way. Yeah, just like that. Ready for action. Overall, the cut quality of this thing is great. Even with the factory blade, it is it produces really nice smooth cuts and consistent cuts. Along with that, I really do like the fact that it's easily portable. I mean, it's a great job site saw. Throw it in your vehicle, take it out, set it up on the stand, which we'll get to shortly, and you're ready to rock and roll. Everything's in a nice, concise little package over here. So that about wraps up the pros on this saw. So moving on to the cons of this saw, or my gripes with it. For one, the top of the table is a stamped aluminum, which is very frustrating to me as a fine woodworker because I need a flat reference top for when I'm sawing things. And if I can get a straight edge, it isn't huge, but it's also just inconsistent. I would say at times, like right here, I'm touching over here and it's actually rocking back and forth. Right over here there's a hump. And if I'm pressed down on the right side of the hump, by the time that I'm 12 inches out, I'm off by about
let's say a little bit over 1/16 of an inch. That's challenging when you're trying to get seamless joints. I'm not sure if it's also out. Yeah, see, the front of it's flat, and there is no hump, so there's something right over there that kind of bumps it out. Not the end of the world, but I can't get perfectly consistent and precise cuts done on this. The next issue that I found while we're on the topic of the tabletop is these miter slots. Because they're from stamped aluminum, I guess, they are not consistent. They're not smooth. The paint that they use on the tabletop is inconsistently applied to the edges and makes it really challenging to dial in your miter gauge to accurately ride along the slots. This really is a major oversight, in my opinion, by DeWalt. I did my best to clean up the edges with a file and some sandpaper. I'll bring you in so I could show you what I did. So you can see in the miter slot, I just took my flat file, and ran it along there. And you can see where the inconsistencies are and where there's ridges and bumps. Especially I found at the ends of the slots on all sides. Moving over to the left miter slot, you see there's a lot of material that needed to be removed there. Slide along over to the other side, and same thing over there. Same thing on the end and the front. So I got it fixed, but honestly it was a pain and it's not perfect. Another one of my issues with this particular table saw is the 8 1/4 blade. It's not a common size, so the blade options are a little limited, as well as the availability of particular riving knives to match the blade thicknesses, because they do vary. I went down a rabbit hole in order to get a replacement blade. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what the blade is, but it is a Diablo. Bear with me. I'm hoping there's a model number on this and it hasn't worn away. This is a Diablo 8 1/4 inch D0824 that works with the riving knife that came with my saw, and I do have to say it's performed very well for me. They classify it as a framing blade, 24 tooth, but it's done well for all the cuts that I use it for, and cuts cleanly. While we're on the topic of blades, another issue that I full well knew while I was purchasing the saw was that you're not allowed to, or not that you're not allowed to, you can't install a dado stack on here. And when I purchased this, I thought that was fine. It was a concession that I made at the time, but I'm realizing as my woodworking progresses and my skill level increases, I really would have liked the option to have been able to use a dado blade in my table saw. But it's not the end of the world, and I knew that when I bought the saw. Can't really knock DeWalt for that one, but oh well. And the last gripe that I have with this saw is setting the angles for any sort of angle cut. Aside from the 90 and the 45 where you have positive stops, if you get your blade dialed into any sort of angle, it's a little challenging to still activate the blade lock and maintain the blade in the exact position that you had left it in. I wish there was another design that they had where You know, once you have it placed, you don't have to lever off of the side of the placement in order to lock it into place. It just adds a little bit of play and imprecision in there. But when you go to 90, it works great. So in my original video of the review and unboxing, I voiced my gripes with the optional accessory stand that they sold and the height limitations that it had. So what I did was I went ahead and built a assembly / outfeed table, and what I did, I threw on a shelf of sorts onto the side that my table saw sits on, and had it set to the height where it will sit right above the height of the outfeed table, and it's worked out pretty well. It raises it to just about 34.5 or 36 inches, I think, and is much more supportive to my personal height. So just a suggestion that I have for you for if you do purchase this saw, or you do have this saw and don't want to use a scissor stand, this just works out a lot better. And another modification that I made was to build a zero clearance insert. So took a little time, but why is this stuck? There we go. Carved out the back of it because the blade doesn't drop all the way down. Made sure I had these little notches and screws for leveling feet, and that just pops right in there. No lock to really secure it, but I haven't found a need for it. And then the blade sits nicely in there. With this option, or this edition of the zero clearance insert, I do find I get more dust out of the top, and dust collection isn't the greatest, but the cut's a lot cleaner, and I don't get any tear on the bottom, so I call that a win. Well, that about covers my opinions on the pros, cons, and room for improvement on the DWE7485. You know, I've had it for 2.5 years now, and I know it sounds like I had a lot of gripes and issues with it, but to be honest, I'm quite pleased with the table saw. I'm happy I got it at the end of the day. The reality is, this is a job site contractor saw. This isn't a fine finish wood shop table saw. Definitely isn't high end by any means, and the price reflects that. If you're on the fence about this and you're not really sure if you're going to be happy with it or not, give it a shot. I think you'll be pleased. If you have any questions that I didn't cover on this, let me know. Pop it in the comment down below. I'll be more than happy to share whatever insight I have on it with all of you. As always, appreciate you coming out and sticking to the end. Hope you got something out of the video. Do as you do on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and until next time, I'm One Andy Dude. Have a good one.